Plato's portrait of ethics in action is compelling, apart from this historical issue. It is possible, we learn, to value moral principle more than life itself. This becomes clear in Socrates' life and death. In addition to Plato's description of the philosophical life in action, he also lays out for his readers a number of arguments about certain central questions of ethics. These questions themselves constitute a pattern. What do we need to learn or know in order to make ethical decisions? How can that be learned or taught? What's the relation between knowledge and moral character? What, by contrast, is the source of wrongdoing or evil? And finally, the most fundamental question, why should a man live according to ethical values? The last of these questions recurs in many of Plato's dialogues. It's usually raised by a speaker who's convinced that wrongdoing or crime pays better than pursuing justice or doing good. But the question itself needs to be questioned. It seems to demand an ethical reason for being ethical. It asks, why should I or anyone be moral? But if ethical values themselves are being questioned, it hardly seems possible to give an ethical reason to justify them. Many philosophers since Plato have concluded that there is no basis outside of ethics itself for acting morally. But for Plato, the moral life is closely tied to reason. He believes that reason's the distinguishing feature of human nature, and therefore man can know and do what is good only by applying reason itself. Indeed, by acting in accordance with reason and the good, people fulfill their true nature. He was obviously aware that wrongdoing often has harsh, painful consequences for its victims. But, he asserts, one thing an evildoer can't do is to make a good person evil. If that were possible, it would be the very worst thing anyone could do to someone else. But it can't be done. Only we ourselves determine whether we will act justly or unjustly. Furthermore, the evildoer harms himself most of all, because wrongdoing goes against both reason and nature. Plato says that to act justly is the most important way in which man can live in accordance with nature. In this way, happiness can be achieved, too, since we're happy only when our natural inclinations and capacities are fully realized. So Plato repeatedly speaks out in the dialogues against those who look at the world around them and conclude that wrongdoing pays. Plato believes that ethical actions are both reasonable and natural, but it may seem that he underestimates the powerful attraction of wrongdoing. The wrongdoer often seems to get ahead of those who act justly. Often he seems to find pleasure in his actions and their consequences. But for Plato, neither of these assumptions is convincing. He says wrongdoing brings illusory benefits. In fact, such benefits harm the receiver. The pleasure that seems to accompany wrongdoing soon becomes tyrannical. It turns into a desire for satisfaction that can never be satisfied. Here again, Plato stresses the power of reason. If people really know what the good is, they won't be able to go against that knowledge.